We are live on YouTube. YouTube tuh yang bayar nih.
ओजा में हमसे ज्वाइन तो बोलो रहेगा स्टूडेंट्स में हमने स्कूल से था भी गजरा
था करा ना इन्हें कहना तो हो रहा
है सोना गंदा स्टूडेंट्स में तो बड़ा सोना गंदा
तो है सर
Okay.
अनि मत सही को दा
अखोई की सिगी हौजे अखोई न वारी सानरी बगी स्क्रीन की कनो बाहाय की लोय नमक से असुंद
स्टूडेंट की तो है बुको
Then we
अलग यार हो
then नवद विष्णु अमर सेमोने तो अनि तो होते
अदो कनो ब्रेकेज खरा दी लै सर हाय की तबद कनो तो वेबा नॉइस याम
इतने के तब पे हो जाला
तब अदु
तो लेआउट से चेंज हो गई
लॉto कनो तो थमो स्पॉटलाइट ता
यार बा
aduga I should I take this one this one yare ko
असुना ने उबरा
ओये सर
अदम बजे उरे को So students, can you all see the screen? Those who are inactive in another Google Meet.
It's on. It's live on YouTube again.
Okay, so if everything is okay, then we can start the session. Yeah,
how no betul sih?
Okay.
YouTube to
So this is our first activity from Institution Innovation Council of Manipur Technical University. First of all, I'd like to welcome our respected speaker, Mr. Erosil Namairakpam, co-founder Nivea Devices Private Limited, and all our distinguished faculties and my dear students. So without any further ado, I'd like to request Ms. Yenkom Chandrika, Assistant Professor, Electronics and Communication Engineering, to introduce our respected speaker. Ms. Chandrika. Ms. Chandrika. Tay.
Mute later.
where is Miss Chandrika?
Rajni, I think she's having difficulty with the connection. Can we start? Just start.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay, so it's fine. I think all these technical difficulties happen during the time of COVID and all this. It's not very reliable sometimes. So, first of all, guys, thank you very much for inviting me to this talk. I'll give a brief introduction about myself. My name is Eroshel Namayakom, and I'm the co-founder of Nivea Devices Private Limited. I basically I have around 14 years of industry experience. I worked in multiple industries before, and I've also stayed in the US for about 9 years and worked for companies like Deloitte, Warner Brothers. I even did my internship in Google in Mountain View, California. So my background, I have kind of a technology as well as a little bit of business background as well. I also have an MBA. So I would say I carry along a lot of management consulting and corporate experience. But in the world of startup, I am still also a learner. We are also learning about new technologies in startup and what are the possibilities, what can be done. So I came back from US around end of 2016, beginning of 2017, and I started off with a management consulting company called Nivea Consultancy Private Limited. So that is still going on. We are working on some projects. In fact, we were the first company which basically helped the Manipur startup scheme. We partnered with Manipur University to did the first batch training for the first cohort of Manipur startup scheme. And in fact, we helped in the curriculum design and everything during that period. And currently, we're also doing some projects for Regenerative and Medical Sciences. So this Nivea Devices Private Limited is a new venture that I, along with my co-founder, started in the like January of last year, within the middle of pandemic. And it's more focused on IoT AI application. So I understand that today's topic is a little bit different from the topic that I'm going to talk about. So, but the main topic probably we can relate, or probably we can do some question and answer at the end. But since most of the students, most of the people in this group are from technology background, that's why I felt like we should talk about emerging technologies, because one of the experience that I've got in the last 2-3 years working in Manipur, I see that many of our students are not looking at the big picture, the new emerging technologies which are coming and which can basically change and which is transforming our environment, transforming the entire landscape in the next 1 decade. Forget about 1 decade. In the next 5 years, the entire industry is going to change. And I'm just worried that whether it is learning new technologies or whether it's the application, most of our students are still lacking behind. And I think we should change that mentality because there's a big opportunity which is coming right at the doorstep. We are talking about Industry 4.0. And we all know that Manipur as a state, we have not been able to utilize up to even Industry 3.0, right? So we never were part of Industry 1.0, 2.0, or 3.0. But the most amazing part about Industry 4.0 is, I think it's a good and a bad thing. The good thing, I'll tell you about the good thing. Industry 3.0 was environmental pollution. Industry 3.1 was degradation of the ecology for the benefit of economy. That was the concept of Industry 3.0. But Industry 4.0 is going to be all about sustainability. It is going to be all about innovation, and it's going to be all about distributed, that everybody in the world, every nook and corner of the world should benefit. So the best thing is, Industry 4.0, we can directly leapfrog ourselves. We don't have to be part of Industry 3.0 because that was the environment polluting the bad industries. Now the new industry which is coming up, it is the new industry about sustainability, and we can actually leapfrog ourselves to be part of this new industry. So I wanted to talk about that. I wanted to talk about what are some of the technologies which is going to change our world in the next 5 years or 10 years, and why most of you as students, as engineering graduates, electronics and computer science, should definitely look into this. Forget about the time that companies like TCS and Infosys, I would say I was very lucky at the time when I first joined the industry around 2006. We had around 44 companies coming to our, I passed out from IIIT Kolkata, and we had about 44 companies coming to our university for recruitment. And everybody got like 3 or 4 jobs. Because the Infosys and the Wipros and TCS, they were hiring people like mass recruitment was happening. But that is not going to happen. That era is already gone. And the entire industry, which is the current Indian IT IES, is also transforming. Because automation and these emerging technologies have basically made sure that we don't need headcounts anymore. Like things that were done by 100 people now can be done by only 1 people. Imagine some of the big companies, like if you look at some of the really big companies now, maximum employees they have is 20 to 30, right? Take for example, WhatsApp before it was taken over by Facebook. It had around 20 employees, but it was a multi-billion dollar, 15 or 16 billion dollar that Facebook gave it. So the new technology, the new emerging technologies are completely transforming, bringing in automation, and you as a student have to be really prepared for it. Otherwise, you will be left out. And the best part is, if you learn some of these emerging technologies, you will be at par with a student in Bangalore or in Karnataka or some of the metro cities. You cannot compete with them when you talk about legacy technologies, right? You cannot compete because they are already 15, 20 years ahead of us. But when it comes to emerging technologies, they are also going to learn the same thing that you will be learning. So today, I would like to give like a brief introduction and a background about 3 of the emerging technologies which is going to transform our lives and which has a lot of potential of setting up businesses in the future. Okay, and that 3 technologies is the IoT, Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, and blockchain. I think most of you might have heard of these technologies, and definitely some of you might be knowing much more. But I would basically hope that all of you start learning these technologies because this is the future. So let me basically go back, start off with the basic definition. So what is IoT? So the basic definition of IoT is the Internet of Things is the extension of internet connectivity into physical devices. So that is the keyword. Connectivity into physical devices, which can be sensors, controls of home appliances, such as smart connected devices, communicate over internet, that can be remotely monitored and controlled, and your own descriptions here. Okay, anyway, so what does it mean is, by definition, it sounds very simple that Internet of Things is nothing but it is a connected devices. But in principle, it basically has a complete different paradigm shift when you talk about the mentality or the way Internet was handled. How Internet was invented. So let me go back and track back to the basic evolution of Internet. Okay, so if you look at the early days of Internet, right, when it was introduced in the 1990s, you might know that Internet was basically a research project done by the US government in order to ease communication between different networks. So, but it basically became popular with public in the 1990s, and every step of the way, the growth of most of the major companies in the world that you know today are having this growth because of Internet. So you have to look at the importance of Internet and how it has affected the lives. Take for example, think about any company. Facebook, WhatsApp, Amazon, anything. All those companies basically have one thing in common. The basic one thing in common is the backbone or the underlying principle on which all these big companies were built is the internet. Okay, so let's trace back the history of internet. So if you remember, the initial use of internet, some of you might be born in the 90s, you might not know, but during the 90s, when we first came to know about internet, it was all about the ability to send emails, right? It was all about the ability to do chat over the Yahoo Messenger. So people who were located in multiple different locations across the globe, they were able to come sit on a chat room, were able to send messages using a chat window. And before internet, people had to basically send out mails. Like it would take 3 months for a mail to come from USA to India or some other location. But with the advent of emails, which were the internet of documents. So if I talk about the first revolution of internet which changed was the internet of documents. The internet of documents were the email and the Yahoo Messenger. So at that time, it was the ability for internet to send certain file sizes or certain emails or documentation over internet to any place around the world instantaneously. That was a complete difference from what we had before. And it was the era of it was the era which started the entire internet revolution. Okay, so once that area basically came out, so what were some of the companies which basically flourished in those times? You know about already Yahoo Messenger, right? You might have heard about other companies like before that, like even Internet Explorers and all those things also came in at that time, the initial internet. After that, after the evolution of the document, the next evolution of the internet which basically came about was the Internet of Commerce. So Internet of Commerce was the area of doing business over internet, right? So this is where your e-commerce, the Amazon, the all other like eBay and all these basically company basically stood up. They were using this technology to do business over internet. Amazon was initially started as a company was selling books online, right? Initially, their initial concept was they started selling books online. Earlier, they used to sell books offline, but by using internet technology, which the selling of the books, which the bookstore which was locally available, now they are able to send it online to multiple locations across the globe. So that era brought about big company changes, which basically were introduced because of this increase in internet speed, right? And earlier it was just sending emails and WhatsApp Messenger. Now you're talking about Internet Explorer, where you're able to do transactions over internet, we're able to send money, receive money. Because of those advancement in technology, what happened was new companies like Amazon and the eBays of the world basically came along, right? After that, the next in the internet evolution was the internet of applications, right? Like you can now talk about apps now, right? Apps, you're talking about apps, multiple apps, the Apple of the world, the Android of the world, Google, and all these companies basically came along because we were able to create these multiple applications on internet, and the concept of like software as a service, platform as a service, those basically idea came along. So on this, you have companies like Apple, which created the applications, where companies like Google, which were built, which are massive companies, and as that progress happened, the next progression basically is the internet of people. This is where we all have the social media connections, right? Facebook and all the other social media, Twitter and all these basically, all these technologies came along. So what I'm trying to emphasize is, if you look at the trend which has been coming up till now, internet has been basically used to communicate with people, among people, right? Now we were basically sending, like even if the internet of documents, we were sending documents among people. The internet of commerce was basically doing commerce, online transaction among people, right? Internet of applications where so that people can use this application for satisfying their business need or whatever. Internet of People also is about social media. It's about people to people connecting. But you can also point, I would like to also point out one more thing, that all these companies which have been associated with internet in some way or another, their relevance and their importance has not faded away, right? We still send email, we still send Yahoo chat, or not Yahoo but some other like WhatsApp chat, right? E-commerce, we are still using Amazon, right? But these companies were established like 10-15 years ago, like 15-20 years ago. You know about all the applications we're using. You are still using all this Yahoo. What I'm trying to say is, a person who was the initial pioneer in the 1990s about the use of internet for sending emails, his job is still valid because we are still sending emails through Google and through whatever. So if you basically are part of a trend of a technology which is emerging, which is continuing, your skill set, I'm talking about an employee, I'm talking about an employee perspective, what the kind of skill set that you should be learning, is it that particular person who were part of the initial team in the 1990s, who were involved with some sort of email, sending emails and receiving emails, his job is still valid even 20-30 years down the line. Maybe he's working in some other organization like Google right now, right? Like Gmail. But still his skills are valid. So what I'm trying to say is, over this lifespan of internet, up till now, which is the connectivity of people, all the skills and all the technology which have evolved or which have basically built on top of internet, they are still valid and they are still used and they will still be valid for a foreseeable future. But there's also a fact that any technology that you basically introduce right now, the maximum lifespan is only about 10 years and some new technology will come up. But if you look at all these phases, then all those phases basically have a period of around 10 years. So what I'm trying to talk about is, from the Internet of People era, we are moving into a completely new realm, which is the Internet of Things. So this is where I really wanted to focus. Up till now, the restriction or the limitation of internet was because we were basically using it to communicate among people to people communication. And the maximum progression we have made is with smartphone. So imagine if every person on the world had a smartphone. Let's say we have like 7.58 billion people in the world. If every person in the world had a smartphone, then the maximum number of transaction and communication, or maximum number of devices which can communicate with each other through internet is only 7 or 8 billion, right? Not beyond that, because up till now, it's only because your phone number, your mobile phone is the one that is going to help you connect with all these different parts of the internet technology, right? So it was restricted to only 7 to 8 billion, but that is going to be changing in the next foreseeable, in the next 10 years with the coming of Internet of Things. Okay, so I am spending more time in this slide just to give you a context, give you guys a context of where I'm coming from, what are the topics I'm talking about, and where I'm basically leading to. Okay, so if you go to the next slide, the first wave of internet, right? Evolution of internet, which was about connecting computers, as I mentioned, right? It was the era when we had like this Yahoo chat and email chat. What was internet basically used for, right? It was basically used for connecting computers at that time, because we had the desktop in every, like we used to have those like chat rooms, right? In different localities, we have those cyber cafes. So you always needed like a computer terminal in order to be connected to the internet. So that was the era. It was the first wave, or I would say the first evolution of internet, which basically made the foundation for the next evolution which was going to happen, right? And most of the big businesses which were built at that time are even still relevant now. Like Microsoft is still a very big company now, multi-billion dollar company. those companies which basically tagged along, or those companies which basically use this technology at that time, they are still relevant. They are still big players, right? So the point I'm trying to come into is, if you basically try to be part of a wave of an evolution of a new technology, and you make your company or your startup provide certain services or application in that particular technology, your relevance will keep on remaining. Your relevance will still be there. So Microsoft, they came in during the first wave of internet revolution, evolution of internet, and they are still a company which is existing, right? Many companies were there which failed. A couple of them were able to be successful, but some of them which basically survived, Microsoft, they are really big players right now. Okay. So what about the second wave of internet? The second wave of internet basically happened with the evolution of mobile phones, right? With the evolution of smartphone, which was the era of the 2000s, right? When internet speed became faster. Earlier, you really needed to have like an internet line cable to be connected to the internet, but internet was basically becoming wireless with the advent of 2G and 3G and 4G technology. It was basically becoming cellular technologies, right? So cellular technology were able to connect you to the internet and be able to connect your mobile phone, your smartphone, into the internet and be able to do all the web transactions. There's a little bit of background noise. Can you guys basically mute? Okay, thank you. So the second wave of internet is the evolution of mobile phones, right? And you know very well, with the evolution of mobile phone, there are multiple thousands and thousands of companies which were born. Amazon, eBay, social media, all these different companies which are based out of applications and apps, they were born after the advent of mobile phones. From desktop, it came to mobile phones. Now we have like computer on our hand. Every one of us basically have a computer on our hand, which is our mobile phone, which is very, very powerful, which you can do many, many things from your phone. And there are many, many companies. Look at all the what is Airbnb and all these companies like Airbnb and the Uber of the world and Ola Cab of the world. Those companies were basically built on top of the second evolution of internet, which is the mobile phone, right? So when internet came on mobile phone, all these applications started jumping out. All these different users started coming out, right? So this is the second wave. Now, what is the next revolution that I'm talking about, which is coming, which is not coming, which is right across the corner, like 2021, 22, this is where it is going to be starting to explode. Okay. The next revolution of technology which is coming up is called the Internet of Things, right? So now, if I basically take you back to the initial conversation, why I spent a lot of time in the first slide, I was telling you guys that the transaction. So I don't know if you guys basically did a Google search. There's millions and millions of transactions are basically happening in Amazon warehouse on daily basis, where they're making sure that all the orders they have basically met is basically reaching you to the right time, the right place without even mixing up. Do you think is it humanly possible to do that? Like if you had, for example, 1 million sorting of products to be done in a day, I'm talking about one day. Do you think how many people you need to be involved? How many people need to be employed in order to do that? And how many people have to work in that Amazon factory? The fact is, Amazon factory is completely operated by IoT devices, robots, which are basically taking the products from one location to another. On the basis of the orders you have made, they know exactly where it is in the warehouse, and they know where to pick up, they know where to place it, they know where to transport it. So currently, even in our lifetime, currently as we speak, I'm saying internet technology, IoT technology is already fulfilling our needs. Already. Maybe there are 200 or 100 employees working in Amazon factory, which basically process about 1 million packets a day. Some of things are done manually, but you don't need like a 1 lakh population, 1 lakh people to work in an Amazon factory because it is completely automated. You just need 100 people. And you as an engineer, you as a person who is graduating as an engineer, you have to figure out how do you be part of that 100 people. If you want to go for corporate employment or something like that. If you want to do business, there's another story. But what I'm trying to emphasize is, this is happening right now as we speak, and you have to figure out how do I become part of that 100 employee in Amazon warehouse, which is handling 1 million transactions on a daily basis, right? So that is the power of IoT. That is the power of IoT that I think all of you basically need to start realizing. So what is happening now? Devices will start to communicate with each other. This is what I'm talking about. That there will be person-to-person communication. There will be device-to-device communication, and and this will basically open up a new era or a new opportunity for new businesses, new ideas, new innovation to come along. Okay, and you can be part of this if you learn the technology. The first thing is you fail to, and this will not be ever taught in a university, because very sad to say that our university curriculum is already obsolete around 10 years back. Even in our time, when we basically came out my engineering degree, I did not understand what did I learn from my engineering. I just did only 2 months of training in one of the corporate offices in Hyderabad for a company called Birlasoft, and that 2 months of training on a certain technology was able to build my career for 10 years. So what I'm trying to say is, you have to learn innovative and new technology even while you are in college, while you are in school, while you are studying, because you will be very late by the time you come to the employee market and you see that all your peers and all your friends have already done some projects in some of these innovative technologies. Okay, so what are the next generation devices? Now we are talking about sensing, right? So once these IoT devices are connected over the internet, where we can do device-to-device communication and and device-to-person communication, a new era or a new realm of things that we were not able to measure or experience before are coming online, right? So I'll tell you an example. I'll tell you an example with the solution that we are trying to build. Everything that we were learning and everything, some of the physical world things, like temperature of this room, right? Whatever room you are in, the presence of objects or whatever, like anything which was not able to be counted earlier, now that is basically coming into the digital space. That is how the digitization is happening. The physical world is slowly integrating with the digital world. The things that you are basically experiencing on the physical world is slowly being transformed into a digital world, and it is basically coming together. That is what I'm trying to explain. So what are some of the applications, right? You talk about smart car, you must be hearing about smart car. You must be hearing about smart city. You must be hearing about 5G technologies and all these things which are happening, right? But the application of IoT is so huge and so vast that not even a single industry is left out when you talk about the implication. Each one of them is a separate industry. The cars that Tesla is basically making right now are all IoT enabled cars. That's why the self-driving and all these things technology are coming into, right? The difference between a company like Tesla or another company like Volkswagen or GM or Ford is that whenever there is a mechanical or something failure, something happens with the car, GM and the Volkswagen have to recall the entire car and make some changes. Tesla, they only have to do like a software upgrade. So that is the power. Like if there's some issue with your brake, they can just do like a software upgrade remotely, and your car will start working. That is only possible when your car is connected, right? That's how the connected cars are coming along. Smart cities. Smart city it's just a buzzword right now. I'm very sorry to say. I would say like nothing much is happening with smart city. With most of the now about most of the region, but I'm telling you, some certain other big cities in the world. I would say Shenzhen in China is one such city which is completely smart city, where there are sensors in every single potholes, every single location around the city. So let me just give you one example of this. Is something that even we are planning to build. Uh, we always have this flood, yearly flood in our city, right, in Imphal area. Why can't we basically have devices which can monitor this flood? For example, you put a device on a bridge which is able to measure the water level which is rising up, and we put these devices at every bridges in Imphal area or any location, and you can monitor those things entirely with the help of a single dashboard. We will be able to do prediction in terms of warning, flood warning, way before it basically hampers or anything happens. These are some of the examples of smart city projects we can do. Waste collection, flood monitoring, street light automation. All these are applications of IoT, which basically makes a city much more efficient. And there are many challenges. Even parking is one issue. There are solutions for parking as well. Smart health, of course, healthcare is one really big industry where IoT can be used, right? At the end of the day, you need devices. Like if you see what is happening with the pandemic right now, data, or whether it be the environmental data like the pH of the soil and all those things are actually collected using a blockchain technology, and the data transfer is saved in the blockchain technology, where it becomes non-corruptible. Like nobody can basically corrupt the data. It is available, and anybody in the whole world can see it. So our main idea was to be able to have this data collected in a very unified and a very transparent ledger, so that a person, a tea buyer in UK or the Tetleys or the Nestle's of the world, they can look at this data and see that, okay, what are the conditions in which this particular teas are grown. So that kind of capability is basically brought about by blockchain, and blockchain is also coming up with an innovation, something called distributed architecture. So very soon in the coming future, you will not be relying on your cellular provider for your internet connectivity. You will not be relying on the Amazon Web Services or the big tech companies for your cloud hosting, because they'll be distributed. That anybody in your house can install certain devices in your house, and that device will become your AWS, and the device will become your internet provider. So that is happening. And of course, the platform application which does the analytics and all those things we are doing, and be able to provide these recommendations to the farmer. So what we have done is we have built hardware devices as well. This is one of our in-house built design here in Manipur within our firm itself. Some of the sensor devices, which is capable of transmitting data up to 2 to 10 kilometers, operated by battery, and being able to transfer data over the license-free frequency range. And the final end goal that we are planning to do for our startup is that currently what you see in any of the tea bags is that you can see only the manufacturing date and the expiry date. But you do not know under what conditions or under what environment the tea was grown, what was the soil data, when was it plucked, and when was it processed, and under which condition, and how long it took for the product to transit from the factory into your cup, into your package. So the ultimate goal for our startup is you will be able to see, like probably scan like a QR code on the product. That QR code will tell you exactly about the various conditions and the various environmental and even the transport factor and everything about transparency about that particular package, the food package. It can be tea, it can be any packaged good. So this is going to bring about a lot of transparency because of the data which you're collecting in blockchain, that this data is something you cannot manipulate. It is there, it was collected at the time the sensor was collecting the data, and we are able to showcase this data, we are able to sell this data to the package manufacturer. So this is kind of the product we are building, where in the future you pick up a package of tea and you basically just scan the QR code, and that QR code will tell you about the various factors and the various ways by which this particular tea was grown and how it basically reached your house. So this brings about a complete transparency and brings about a lot of change in our thinking. So I'm just talking about only one use case, right? Only one use case for the application of IoT, that also in agriculture. Imagine how many different use cases you can build on top of this new technology, right? So far as a startup, we were selected, we were among the top 5 selected startup, and in the process of receiving 25 lakhs grant from STPI Octane for innovation technology and IoT. Our solution was also basically approved to be presented in the LoRaWAN World Expo to be happening in Paris, right? And we also received another 5 lakhs from Indian Institute of Entrepreneurship. Currently, we are also incubating out of Sikkim Manipal University, and I've done some training programs funded by Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And that's about it, guys. This is my profile and my co-founder, who is my father. I come back from computer science and MBA background. My father is a retired professor of life science department in the university, and that's about it. So I'd like to just finally sum up this presentation. I know it is not the exact topic that this was mentioned in the chat, but I really felt like we should talk about these emerging technologies to you. And if you guys have any questions or anything, feel free to reach out. This is my email address and phone number. You can check our website also. And I think we are done. We are good. We're open for questions now. Thank you very much, guys. So if you guys have any questions, I'm open for it. Can discuss. Let's have it more of a conversation purposes, so that.
Yeah, Jimmy, can you come online? And I don't know if the students have any problems. No.
They can questions on the chat also. The other guys who are able to join.
Yeah, if students, if you have any questions, you can drop your questions to the chat box, and we can read it out for you.
But directly you can ask on the like unmuting your mic.
Yes,
Sir,
Miss.
actually, sir, I have one question, sir. I am Morankam Roshni, sir, faculty member of management department. Actually, sir, I have a query like how the government and other financial institutions are supporting this pandemic as an ecosystem, sir, about your company, relating with your company, how they are supporting like the government and other financial institution during this pandemic, sir.
So this pandemic it's been like a very difficult time for all of us, as we all know. But luckily, since we are part of the Untitled Incubation Center in Sikkim, and we are supported by the Indian Institute of Entrepreneurship and the STPI, with whom we are signing an agreement very soon. Especially with the EIC, we are still continuing to do a lot of. They are giving us a lot of training exercise in terms of how do we build this solution in a more sustainable and scalable manner. In terms of funding, for sure, I mean, it's always we have not basically gone to private equity funding or private funding yet. We are still at a stage where we're trying to get the maximum out of the government grants. So far, we have raised around 30 lakhs. Only on government grants, but it doesn't mean that we are not giving away some equity. We have given away close to 2.5% equity of a company to AIC, and we have also given away another 3% equity to STPA. But these are mostly government grants which are helping us. Since we are talking about agriculture, that's why we are able to avail all these grants. So, but apart from that, pandemic, I mean, it's very difficult. And of course, we are not, we are still in a development phase, and we have not been able to launch the final product in the market yet. But still, of course, with AIC and with all these other agencies, we are getting some support. I mean, even if we are not earning revenue, since we are in development phase, we are getting support from all these guys.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. I just want to know how the entrepreneurs are facing during this pandemic. So that was the question that. Thank you, sir.
So we have one question from Mr. Chirom Biondi, and he's saying, "Sir, can you talk about the transfer the data from 2 to 10 kilometer?"
Yeah, so I know BMD very well. Currently we are using technology called LP1. It's called Low Power Wide Area Network. And this technology basically transfers data using radio frequency. I mean, you will not be able to transfer large volume of data like in megabytes, but you can transfer small sensor data, we call in kilobytes, for very long distances, right? Like 2 to 10 kilometers is an average. And transferring this small amount of data, you don't need very high power devices. So the devices can be operated by battery, and they can last for about 2 to 5 years. So imagine the use case I told you, right, that we are also trying to build, especially for the flood monitoring in Nepal area. You basically build these devices which are battery operated, and you can place it in a bridge, on the side of a bridge for like 2 years or 3 years, and it will still transmit data maybe on hourly or maybe on daily basis or something, and get this data over internet into your application. So to keep it short, we are not using cellular, we are not using any other technology because it is not feasible. Cellular devices consumes a lot of energy, right? That's why you need to charge your phone every time, every day. But devices which are going to be placed in bridges for years, you need a different set of technology. So we use a technology called LP1. I think we should look it up.
Thank you, sir. So any other questions from the students?
Okay, I would like to add something. I'm Iboyama Dr. Eli Boyama Singh, Department of Professional Communication. I would like to thank Aerosil Namairakam for the lecture. But I just wanted to make sure that, I hope your company grows so that you can take our students for internship.
Yes, Zavali. I, in fact, spoke with Navdevis also to bring in certain interns. In fact, I came last time to your college to talk to certain students as well. But as this pandemic started, we were not able to materialize that. But definitely, I'm in touch with Navdevis that we can do some internship for.
Okay, that would be great. That would be great. Thank you so much, then. If there's any other students who has any doubt or you want to clear something out, please go ahead. This is not a classroom, by the way. No one is going to ask you questions, so you better.
And if you're feeling shy, then there's always the chat box, right?
Yeah,
and Aerosil, I wanted to ask you, you were leading a very good career in the US. So what motivated you to come back and start your own startup company?
So there is two sides of that story. One thing is in fact, I never had plans to come back, but I had to come back because of my family issue and family concern. But
always the case, right?
But it's not something that I'm really regretting or anything. I think right now, even if you stay, even if in the remotest region or whatever, you are still able to communicate and contact and be able to build businesses from anywhere. So even if, you have all the facility now in Manipur. We have 24/7 electricity supply. We have kind of relatively better internet connection. So whatever that you need, it's already available there. And I think it should not be an excuse for our budding entrepreneurs and our young guys as well. The thing that we observe is like most of the businesses that some of these startups are building in Manipur are also thinking very small. Like we are thinking about Manipur as a market. We're not thinking beyond it. So that is a big issue. Like why some of our startups are not able to get external like investor funding when so many startups are getting external. It's because our mentality is really focused on how do I serve the Manipur market. And I feel our kids should basically start thinking beyond that. Like our kids should start thinking how do I build the product and solution for the global market. Right. That's a way that the mentality we should start building it. And if you start thinking in that way, things will start open up. I remember a time around before the pandemic, I went to Shenzhen, China, to attend one of these IoT conventions, and I visited one of the factories there. It was a very funny. It's a very big. I mean, in terms of the brand and everything, they basically serve to 150 countries, and they have clients everywhere. But if you visit a factory, it's a two floor building. One floor they have the staff. Second floor they have the equipments, everything. Around 20 odd people are working. But if you talk to any of those guys, their vision is we are going to sell our product to the whole world. That's what they think. Imagine 20 odd people in Manipur building a startup which is serving the whole world. Why do we have to worry about Manipur market? Right. So if you start designing, if you start working on solutions which you're trying to provide solution which is relevant for not just Manipur, not just Northeast India, not just India, start thinking about how do I serve this solution for the whole world, then automatically the market will become bigger, your mentality will become bigger, and staying here in Manipur, you can earn revenue in dollars. I think that's the way we should start approaching. And I expect the same. And I don't know. I mean, when I was in the Manipur Startup Scheme initial launch, I was expecting more of like out of the 1,000 people who applied, 90% of the people were either piggery or handloom or this kind of a business ideas. I wish our engineers, our students who are studying in NIT, Manipur Technical University, MIT, they should be the one who should be applying for all these schemes, right? I think that was missing, and that was the sorry part. And I think you guys should start thinking big, start thinking because you have the opportunity of learning this innovative technology in your colleges, in your universities. Make advantage of it, make the full use of it, keep learning, and how do you apply it? That's how you should be focusing on. So that's my message to all the youngsters here, students. So that's big.
Okay, so let's have one more question from Mr. Nora. I think you had a question, right? So, my question is, how do you from Ghana?
Hi, sir. Sir, I'm going to go to Manjari. Akoigi company may stop from the zoning of financial program delay in Canada. Manipur in a startup with the government of she not over the Opena Tapayava, financial.
I'm going to have no question again.
So again, company just stop the owning of financial program delay. Opena Manipur startup not about to put up payable financial program don't just up payable.
So startup schemes the just Manipur dang not the all India gi every time adum release the week off. Even we as a company are also applying to many schemes. Apoi startup India gi makada apoi different incubation centers में हम अदुदा मोइन सुदम अनो competitions में हम तो लेगा. For example, अपन अवज़ी STPI की competition तो रिबा अवधगी IA की तो रिमें हम तो मी में हम apply तो रिबा अदुदा कोई selection फंग मनाए. अदुगुम्बदी मने हम ले तो मेरे मेरे just थी वो कतंग वाट पे नहीं बा. अदुदी ऐना है बदी अदुम मेरे में apply तो हाँ भाई दी company हम तो विहार तो जितना company register तो विहार खल भी ना. Business ama how we had that require hamada aina tawdiba business ina karamba kari makhagi problem solve tawdina na hanang thiyo. So don't think about how do I start a business, think about how do I solve a problem, and how do I solve the problem in a way so that I can build a business out of it. Amai khallo akhoi swagi mentality sina kitangdi unfortunately oi ko akhoi jo ahambada ai jo aham thongba khandada. We also try to build this startup ecosystem, startup mentality among our people here. Even like working space among ahambada sinjai ga to ki bado like that me lapuni sing ai office ki corner mai khazala lawjage haibagumba like atumba kitang hoi mentality se kitang ai na hire business ideas me na low withdraw haibagumba adubu mada na me sing se kitang lairi bo hoi adu. Also the very sad part is akoi di yang wai ta bomna innovative business idea on tholota di madugi business idea da hoi sida increase to vide di loke. For example, another business idea success or heta di adu ko chap mana business on tawra market to pra mangan bi sigi mentality ani khamda change to won daga ta khale. For example, koi auto thoba hai na koi ha bazar mong do lockdown mong da lambi cha ya andi auto me amna means auto thawri pesa tan ba ya amna mi ko ma se indom ko di mo auto loi thawna ra na lockdown to kan da auto thom yam do loi na ba to e mo business loi ma. Another example, food delivery hai. Food delivery startup ahan da angang sing koi food wifi kangu or hummingbird kangu fisher kangu na hom bakanda phajana do mo edum hom innovative idea ne hom positive koi food delivery kya ya ma ya me ko every third party wants to set up a food delivery company. Of course, like pandemic matam do di what na go ado chile junata bada any like ambulance or any business am hor bakanda koi mentality sida maduga chap mana bom tawga dai business to my am changna muthat mine adugi mentality koi to kom daga tai. Instead of just focusing on one or two businesses, why can't we build 1,000 businesses ideas? Atra 1,000 business idea putoga business idea me adu masa na magi to kono da on focus to bon pay en khale na aba hadi nang sagi ang ma have yo hana register to ko pe yo yang kan mata sa no yang mata adu ko to yang sang ne ahan da nang hana product solution ma nang problem identify to ro problem du nang solution am puto high solution do ai competition me am de pitch to prototype am sia mo
start to na to ai ha je ni ga ai company le start to na to ai finance ka kha lai ni Matama tong the phenomenon child in another build a matter
exactly
you buy social labor partner adugi I peshari putung yari like the color job of peshari not there
so startup ki phase there multiple phases like nang high positive phase to pay where the bootstrapping stage go bootstrapping stage na kaino have the nang na samang na not the thousand nangi friends and families nang namana sing da haina ra nangi friends and families in the haina ra nangi business idea do nang believe to tardi maduda paisa kara fan thada bio at least thabak se ho ge na and my to nang thabak ho ba ya bootstrapping to ko se je ko aduna na bootstrapping stage lor matung da nang product to nang phajana lai ra market nang market ko na prototype nang idea dagi just certain prototype level ta nang ko ngam ya khalong am ta di adu matung nang competition me yaw ya competition में हमसे हौसकी pre-seed कैनले funding अहम तक grant ले या कुछ even हौसकी grant के हम follow तो भी government की grant है हम pre-unit नंग any agriculture हो गयो technology हो गयो any particulars conform देना ना startup India की website चलो मोई दा like every month अनु वो competition में हम थोक बने वाला अदु मज़े ने apply तो वो हाउरो apply तो होगा मधु की selection process तो वो खलक तारदी और दगी you can start availing these grants so instead of just waiting for your friends and family mo na di aham no na kari support to wear ni ado ai paisa su lai later na business ho ya da is di lam mentality ni ko paisa di wa lo e la kana paisa just nangi business to nangi idea do kamai to ra to a prototype level da kamai por kane na adu dang nang kitang figure out to bon sang prototype level yo ta ri nang government ko ra yo da ta so even akhoi prototype level yo three products ki first prototype sadana ri second product government ni grants में हम लोग भी आए government की grant की मतुंग दा government ना ना अदु दरकार ना मुझे खरे कनो सुपीबी अर्नी ना मुझे खरे माग visibility period है जो मतुंग you can start looking for all this private equity investment which comes in the form of seed stage pre-seed seed stage, then Series A, Series B, and my matang yam lay grab. I don't know. Simply, na di nangi idea to the yam tamusing I the wong of Ning Kanta, the quite a hundred means nangi a hundred saving the Pisaka, like Poliana Yang or the Pisakan Tada on way or I think Matunga friends and families the very sanaro. Friends and family very sanaro Matunga Kanato Boholo. Grants me apply to Boholo. Ado aina amadi recommendation am dito ge huziki matamda loan logo business kanto nadram nigo loan logo business to was quite risky of a business that the loan chidi low and hello there is something called equity investment where we give away certain section certain part of your company and you raise fund and you basically you don't have to return that money. That is how startups are basically startups actually grow. That is how startup funding happens. Nang si ako gi retail sa gawa kana oyurong within 500 million gi mana kana lore ga ido kana kan mo bank na 500 million gi loan bido no. Ado equity investment din ng 500 million gi equity investment hong ga yan. Ado na husigi stage gi no ay na ido ahan bada nang nasagi pocket pesa ro to yadra. Nang nasana nang business to pesa thada batan ta de mi to ga karbe on thada de. Nang nasa nang i-array pesado ang putoka nang nasa to han ay po ay to po ay thazay na uton da kata nang na thaza kana mi no thaza ka ne but na business sama ho gedi you don't need a lot of money. You've tried to find out what is the problem you're trying to solve. Adi problem do solution innovative solution of puto ado madugi solution do matumi na pesa tala ka do na don't look for a business, look for a problem. Nice.
Okay, thank you very much. That's all for today, I think. Kind of a lot of things and firing. What of things.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir. Khazana tayo ko sa handagya. Okay. Thank you so much, sir. Erosal Namarapam for giving his time, and actually we want to apologize for the difficulties we faced in the beginning of the session. So we're really sorry for the difficulties. Now may I request one of our students, Firin, from the 8th semester Department of Electrical Engineering, to give the vote of thanks. Firin, are you there?
Yes, ma'am. Am I audible, sir?
Yeah, you're audible.
Hello, everyone. For the seminar, it's really great that this virtual talk on innovation and startup ecosystem turned out to be very successful. I'm Parijin Lumhar, and I'm here to present the vote of thanks to the people who made this seminar successful. I'd like to take a minute and thank all of them. First of all, I would like to thank the speakers, Sir Erosal Namarapam, CEO, Media Consultancy Private Limited, who shared his precious knowledge with all of us and for making excellent presentation and making this seminar interesting and meaningful. I personally like, sir, how he highlighted the drastic change of rising in the price on the surroundings and all the solutions that has implemented. It's really intelligent and thankful. I also want to thank our university council for taking effort to make this seminar possible. I would also like to thank all the teaching and non-teaching staff for encouraging the students to participate and also guiding the participants too. And I'm also very thankful for their presence in this seminar. Finally, the wonderful students who turned up. Thank you so much for your effort and for paying your valuable attention. Once again, I thank you all for your cordial cooperation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Firin.
One last thing, I request all of you to please turn on camera so that I can take a screenshot of the session. All the students, please turn on your cameras just for a moment.
Everyone, please put on your camera for a photo session. We need this. Mr. Kosigil Asante, where are you?
Maybe somewhere. I don't know.
He's here. Those who are on the main screen, Justin Maying Bamhara, Kunchan, yes, and then Palmyo, Jangkopao, Yaitoba, and Yunam. All of you just turn on your camera for a moment. It'll be a brief. Yeah, but question next screen so I'm lock on view so that
John, Justin, Daud,
Victorson,
Nelson,
Victor Jankopov.
I'm started taking.
Jabiraj, another camera tanta. Chop.
Disung Hung, jangan kamu. Level kita itu kamu boleh. Padahal disum, padahal kamu.
Yaar, lammo.
Congratulations, kamu.
Yaipaba and Gano. Yes, Yaipaba.
Mai ketemu lo ya deh.
Mai ketemu lo. Okay. Now screenshot. I'm taking a screenshot. Yes.
Is it done, Jimmy?
Yes, it's done.